DUŠAN DEDEČEK is a Slovak sports official, and he worked as an athletic coach for deaf athletes. For over a decade, he served as the Secretary General of the Slovak Deaflympic Committee. He resigned on October 5th after a tragic event that happened 3 days before his resignation. So, what led him to this decision? We need to go back to the 2nd of October 2022 to capital city of Slovakia. At this day, the man had a meeting in Bratislava. He was drinking a rum during the day. His family was confronting him with this, telling him not to drive. However, he decided not to listen to them. And then, at 10:24 p.m., DEDEČEK lost control over his car at 143 kilometers per hour, 89 miles per hour, and crashed into a bus stop with around 40 people. He killed 4 people right away and heavily injured another 7. This bus stop was usually very busy because it was a stop coming from the train station, mostly used by students and tourists. On the 3rd of October at 8:55 a.m., police told that the driver had 0.77 milligrams a liter, 1.6 per mile, of alcohol in his body. 2 hours later, Prime Minister Matovec wanted to increase a penalty for DUI. A couple of hours later, hospitals released a new report. 4 people were hospitalized, 2 were treated and sent for home care, and 2 were fighting for their lives in artificial sleep. 34 minutes after this statement, police updated the number of people killed from 4 to 5. The 5th person died in the hospital. Most of these victims are students of universities in Bratislava. 12 days after this tragic event, he was taken to a custody without a sentence from the court. And after a very long time, on the 8th of June 2023, he was sentenced to 15 years in prison for DUI and killing 5 innocent people. This was the most shocking information for the victims' families. Only 15 years for killing 5 innocent people? Slovakia shows that laws are beyond reality. For example, for just a few grams of marijuana, you can get 25 years in prison. Let us know, what do you think in the comments. We are sending our prayers to the families who lost their loved ones. On July 9th in 2017, a bus carrying 3 passengers was driving on the Jiangbu Expressway in a middle lane of a 5-lane highway on a Sunday afternoon. The intercity bus, the M5532, travels early half an hour from Osan, Gyeonggi to Sadang Station, southern Seoul. At that day, a couple, ages 58 and 56, were on their weekend ride, which they used to enjoy. The couple worked as tailors in Dongdaemun District, eastern Seoul. The husband, surnamed Shin, had been receiving blood dialysis. Unfortunately, this day was tragic for them. Black box footage from the bus obtained by police shows the bus crashing into a white car ahead of it around 2:40 p.m. and then hitting at least 2 more cars ahead of it before coming to a halt in the far left lane of the highway. The white vehicle was crushed by the bus and its 2 occupants. A couple, aged 58 and 56, died on the spot. He also injured 16 other people that were in surrounding cars. The bus driver, a 51-year-old surnamed Kim, told police he had dozed off. Police planned to apply for an arrest warrant for him. It was revealed that the driver was working since early morning hours. Kim said on Saturday his first shift began at 5 a.m. and his last shift ended at 11:40 p.m. He had driven a total of 15 hours that day. He was back the next morning at 7:15 a.m. He also said, "I had 5 hours of sleep when I went back to work on Sunday." This shows how broke the system is and that money should be used to hire more drivers, so there are at least 2 drivers in 1 bus. On the 10th of November 2016, in Slovakia, in the region of Šilina, at around 12:15 p.m., emergency services received a call to a car accident where a vehicle collided head-on with a semi-truck. After their arrival, they saw a very brutal accident where 57-year-old driver of a Dacia Logan crashed into Renault semi-truck driven by a 44-year-old driver from Poland. For unknown reasons, went into the oncoming lane. Unfortunately, the truck driver had no chance of stopping. He slammed on the brakes and hoped for the best. Even this accident looked very brutal. The driver managed to survive the accident. He was transported to a hospital in critical condition, and his estimated stay was set to over 42 days. Later, it was stated that the driver had a heart attack. Damage was calculated to be 15,000 euros. Multiple people reacted to the video that the truck driver had a chance to avoid this collision by swerving to the left. What is your opinion? Ting is a 26-year-old woman who was driving a 2020 Porsche 911 on 112th Avenue Northeast toward Highway 520 in Bellevue, Washington, with passenger Yabao Liu, 27, at around 4 a.m. They were exceeding speeds of over 100 miles per hour. They flew through multiple intersections before Ting lost control of the Porsche. The car struck a cement barricade and went airborne, according to the footage taken on traffic cameras. The vehicle landed upside down, killing Liu, also a Chinese national, according to charging documents cited by the outlet. First responders were called 45 minutes after the collision, as the vehicle was not visible. So after 45 minutes, somebody spotted the wrecked vehicle and contacted 911 immediately. First responders then extricated the two occupants. They discovered that Liu was dead and noticed a strong odor of alcohol coming from Ye. Due to the severity of the crash, it took time for police to find out who had been driving. Ye was released from the hospital on October 6th and then crossed the border into Vancouver, Canada, 3 days later with the help of an acquaintance, and took a flight to China. Prosecutors requested that she be held on $2 million bail, and she will not be allowed to leave Washington without permission from the court. Unfortunately, she was in China at the time of this statement. The case has become a political issue since it was turned over to the U.S. Department of Justice. She is now free, but if she ever traveled to another country that does have an extradition treaty with the USA, she will be sent back to the USA. This accident will show you how broke the system of South Korea really is. Miss Yoon, a 33-year-old office worker, was one day driving on the highway on the 22nd of July 2016. Her biggest fear was getting rear-ended by a bus or semi-truck. In Korea, it's a fear of most drivers. She said that these big rigs are like a ticking bomb. One day, this fear saved her life. She saw a traffic jam in the left lane, so she immediately merged into the right lane, as a bus was driving right behind, and suddenly she heard a loud bang. She checked his rearview mirror and saw a big mayhem. The bus driver, called Bang, fell asleep behind a wheel and crashed into 5 vehicles, injuring 37 people and killing 4 women in their 20s. After crashing into the vehicles at 91 kilometers per hour, 57 miles per hour, he collected 680 demerits, which led into his license revocation. The current law stipulates that a collection of more than 121 demerits in a year automatically leads to the revocation of a license, which cannot be reinstated for 1 year. If special pardons are carried out on August 15th, which is not even a month after the car accident, Bang might be legally able to reinstate his driver's license even sooner. A lot of people raise their voices over the current laws for bus drivers. Bang has a previous record of license suspension in 2014 after he was found 3 times for drunk driving. He then regained his license in March of 2016. It's very sad that people like this can get their licenses back and transport innocent people. The driver can be sentenced to 5 years and fined $17,800 US. Unfortunately, we didn't find any information about what happened to the driver after he was released from the hospital. If you liked the episode, please subscribe and check out my Patreon in the description for extra content.